Alright, I'll try to make this quick, but it probably ain't gonna happen. Response video to vital finds. Might as well pick at this thing, see if there's anything worthwhile underneath all this bullshit. So she made one video on the healthcare system with just completely incoherent nonsense. She was talking as if we don't have any real-world examples of universal healthcare. It's out there. Canada, England, each European nation has its own version. I don't necessarily support the idea of that much health care. I support a raw minimum. Yes, if you're, coming to the emergency room and you're fucked up, we're going to fix you. Yes, if you need some basic cancer therapy, yes. But liver transplants, all that other crap, no, you got to buy insurance to get any of that crap. So, yeah, I wouldn't have the same system they have in these other countries, these expensive systems. And I suggested in my video what my reform would be, which would be to, allow people to first get rid of the people that don't even want a part of it. They don't even want your healthcare system. They want to be gracefully put out. I've had two relatives, over 80 years old, request from the system to let them peacefully die. The system refused to do that and kept them alive, tortured them for years in nursing homes. That's the insidious medical industrial complex we've created. It's all about the damn money. All they see is a bed and dollar bills. They don't see, and they don't give a damn about the welfare of the people or their ability to actualize their intentions and their desires. So first, let's do that fair. Let's give people a fair choice about this medical industrial complex. Quit imposing life on people who don't fucking want it. The last 6 months of your life, I think the average cost is $70,000. It's almost a house. So we were basically burning down a house to get these, whatever they are, these last months of horror. Maybe that makes sense to you people. It doesn't make any sense to me at all, and I certainly wouldn't invest in it. I don't see it as a human right to burn down my house so you can be in a nursing home shitting your pants. I don't see any fucking productivity in that whatsoever. There's better ways to spend this goddamn money than on people that don't want to be alive or that people aren't even alive. We kept Karen Ann Quinlan alive for 10 years. There's Cruzant girl in Chicago. These are hideous examples of a system way out of fucking control. So I say fix that shit first before we even talk about socializing any of it. It's a complex. It's an industrial complex. The amount of waste in our medical system is grotesque. The system is there's middlemen everywhere taking a cut. It's disgusting waste, and for that reason alone, we should fix it. Just for the pure economics of it, not for the humanity of it. But the humanity is the second part of the equation. And she talks. Most people have health care. Most people have Social Security or Medicaid or some other mechanism that gets them their health care. Okay, so bullshit on that argument. Yeah, there's millions, 55, whatever the number is, millions of people who don't have health care, and they pay 10 times, 7 times more than you pay than the health care provider. The insurance companies are paying for the procedures. If you go out and buy a medical procedure a la carte, you'll spend 7, 6, 5 times at least more than what an insurance company is going to pay for exactly the same service. It's an insidiously disgusting, it's just a grotesque system. It needs huge reform and overhaul. All right, but that's a whole separate frickin' issue. All right, so let's get to her video on response. She called it to me. We won't bother with the beginning where she just plays the buffoon game. Look, 1% of my rhetoric is fuck you, about 0.005%. I mean, it's a tiny percentage. You want to focus on a fuck you word or a fucktard, that's your choice. But you all look like little silly people to me. Grow up. All right, so she wasted the first, minute and a half of her video on nonsense. And so let's just get to her even more nonsensical accusations.
Anyway, so, Amendment has proposed a few things.
So she's making a face. Yeah, I've posted a lot of things. I got whole videos on YouTube called Solutions, whether it's the economy or just, the practicalities of how we face our future. There's lots of lots of simple solutions to problems. And, the reason why it ain't getting done is because there's a bunch of empty heads doing this bullshit.
But, I mean, this birth rate thing, I mean, taking money away from Teresa Heinz Kerry because of generations ago?
Not because of generations ago, and you don't take the money away. She never gets the damn money. Okay, what is? It's, how can you call it taking away if you just say you're not entitled to it? Again, by your idiotic logic, answer this question: we can't inherit a driver's license, can we? You can't do that, right? You have to show you're competent to possess one, correct? So why should we give control over our capitalist industry, control over our society effectively, to people who didn't pass any test? They didn't do anything of merit to earn that control. Why would we pass control over a system? This is control over the system. This is a control over life and death. That's what money buys. You have to understand that. You can't be this fucking stupid. You do understand that money buys people's lives. It buys their welfare. It buys their comfort. It drives them into coal mines. It does things to people. And the people who control that money have to take some fucking responsibility for that.
What do? Walk up to a person's house with a gun and demand?
Yeah, so it's just as silly. You're just turning into a cartoon argument, right? Oh, all taxation is walking up to somebody with a gun. That's what all taxation is, right? I mean, yes, so to make that preposterous imagery because you can't make a logical argument.
And all their money? I mean, what do you really seriously do?
Well, what do you seriously do? Let's say you're having a race and all your kids are lining up for the race. And some of the kids decide they're going to start halfway down the track. And then some of the kids go 3/4 of the way down the track. And some of the kids go across the finish line and are holding the trophy before the gun's even fired. Now, what do you do to fix that? Oh, what's the horrible solution? Well, I guess the horrible solution is you say, oh, no, wait, we have a merit game here. This is a game based on fairness and merit. So, yeah, all you assholes, get back to the fucking starting line, jackasses. Okay? But what's so complicated?
There's a big long list of self-made billionaires from Martha Stewart to Bill Gates.
Yeah, again, ignore the fucking real world issue. Start talking anecdotes again about little fucking percentages and whatnot. It's not the game, okay? That's not the substance of wealth held, okay? Bill Gates, self-made people don't hold the substance of the wealth. That's a small percentage of the wealth held. And so keep ignoring the facts and arguing your nonsense. Perfect. You're just proving my goddamn point. You can't take anything seriously because you're a propagandist.
But, of course, according to Amanda, Bill Gates didn't really do anything. He didn't really
according to reality.
Do anything. The whole complete friggin' computer generation was founded on that one man. But Bill...
Oh, get real. I mean, anybody in the technology industry will tell you about all the computers that came before IBM's PC, okay? All the people that did the hard work, okay? The guy who actually wrote MS-DOS, okay, that Bill Gates sold to IBM, that he rented to IBM. He made his money on a rental contract, on usury, okay? He didn't do any of this innovating of the computer industry, all right? That was done by hundreds of thousands of other people who created the software that ran on Windows. Windows isn't anything without the software that runs on it. Remember WordPerfect? Remember all these other things that existed in the world that made a computer work? That wasn't done by Bill fucking Gates.
He did nothing. Absolutely nothing.
He did everything to stifle the industry. He suppressed any competition. If we had an open source operating system from the beginning of the PC, I would bet you, whatever I can bet you, if we could run that scenario, that computers would be more capable today than they are now. Okay? He stifled innovation. He stifled standardization. He stifled everything that would have made the computer industry more efficient.
Martha Stewart, what did she do? Well, she only, makes things match in the bathroom.
Well, whatever. Martha Stewart's kind of irrelevant to this conversation, okay? We're not talking about Oprah and Martha Stewart or any of these other people. We're talking about who owns the substance of the wealth of a nation, okay? And that goes to the old names, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the Kennedys and the Bloomingburgers and all the rest of that bullshit, okay? Even Donald Trump started off with $10 million in New York real estate.
Does life really need to be that well thought out? For some reason I'm seen as some megalomillionaire here on this.
Now you're seen as a silly idiot who talks. You go to some little coffee clatch with some other little putzes, and you think now you're an authority on something, and you understand nothing, but you talk. You have the arrogance. You have the Rush Limbaugh. I'm going to stomp on this. Okay, I'm going to spew the propaganda. I'm going to work for the machine. All right, and you take no responsibility for that. Yes, people perceive you because you defend a system that is exploiting people. We'll let your own rhetoric speak for itself.
It's like, I guess because I call myself a Republican. How much money do you think me and my husband have?
Who cares? It's not about how much money you have. It's about what you're defending, what you're arguing for. You're defending birthright as a means to ownership of industry, of the means of production in our society. You're saying that's a meritorious system, that makes sense. To give people something for nothing. It's the ultimate, most preposterously huge welfare program in the fucking world. People are given money for nothing, for no accomplishment, no merit.
Amend them. Give me a number. What is our net worth?
Moving forward, who cares?
Moron.
That's right.
You win, amend them. Now,
well, if I won, then I guess you'd have some humility and quit talking your trash.
Taxes can be considered robbery, but...
Yeah, taxes can be considered robbery by idiots, okay? People who don't want to consider what the real world requires, that we have to pay for the infrastructure, we have to pay for our national defense, we have to pay for our national parks, or we have to pay for the other stuff we as a society say is worth having.
I won't go that far. But if you're talking about targeting individuals...
monarchs, noblemen, individuals who did nothing to earn their money. Yes, I'm targeting them.
Especially in a retroactive manner?
I never even said anything about a retroactive manner. I said stop allowing inheritance, okay? So that's not retroactive, is it? Is it?
Well, how can you address that? I don't believe in that type of human behavior.
Yeah, because you believe the game is about the cheat. You're in love with the cheat, and that's what it obviously is. You don't want a fair race because you'll lose, okay? And then you'll be the garbage. You'll be proven to be the unmeritorious. Because I think if you had a real competition with a Chinaman or a guy in India, you'd probably lose a real competition. But as long as you keep them desperate, and as long as you force them into contracts that give them no rights and no opportunity, you can win, all right? And that's the game you rich capitalists like to play, you defenders of this wealth initiative, this birthright bullshit, okay? But that's all it is. There's to point out the disconnect between the metaphor of a race where you allow some of the participants to start halfway up the track and some of them 3/4 of the way up the track and some of them all the way up to the finish line. Explain how that metaphor does not accurately describe the non-merit system by which we distribute ownership of our world.
On any level. So, one thing that I agree with about Amendum is Habitat for Humanity seems like a very good
I'm going to move forward past that mush.
Do I need to talk about adult toys or something? I don't know. I could really,
that's much too.
Say we like Hispanics, Mexicans we hate, etc. And that is a problem, especially with the Bible beaters in the Republican Party. And I must admit, I, at one point in time, did not want to see gay marriage. And I had no real rationale.
Yeah, well, I don't think you have any rationale for anything else you see. With the way you see the world, it's completely based on the bullshit. I said it before. I'll say it again. You're a Kool-Aid drinker of the Reaganomic whole agenda. Okay, the propaganda, they suckered you in and you bought the bullshit. All right, but the way the real world works has nothing to do with this perception that you have that you've accomplished something, and your ability to defend things like Bill Gates, all right, he just ran a racket. That's all he did. He ran an interesting racket, but that's all it was. And even Martha Stewart, who will throw away $2 million on a party, a nice little summer fun party, and who sells $70 cookie cutters to silly people, whatever. If that's the real world, if you think that's how the real world runs, that you can do that shit and it doesn't have some real world consequence, that it doesn't oblige somebody in China to work 18 hours a day doing some tedious and monotonous job to feed his family, then you are what I labeled you. You're an idiot. And I think you do understand it, and that makes you even worse than an idiot. It makes you an insensitive, even sadistic elitist. So yeah, I'll say fuck you to you. If you're going to defend what is essentially monarchy, and it's nothing else, explain how when you hand money to somebody at the day of their birth, how that is something other than the same thing as monarchy. Until you do that, I'm just going to call you a servant to that evil, and I'll point my fucking finger at you, and I'll call you a rotten piece of shit, okay? That's what I'll do. I'll point my finger right at you and say, yes, you're a despicable creature, because you're defending something that can't be ethically defended. Not rationally, not reasonably, not by an enlightened mind. You're unenlightened, you're ignorant, you're stupid, you suck. Yeah, that's it. You suck. Yeah, the end. Sorry, morphine. I mean, but the rhetoric deserves it. I'm sorry. It deserves it.